The stars had always fascinated humans. For centuries, people had looked up at the night sky and dreamed of reaching beyond their small blue planet. For most of history, those dreams seemed impossible. But now, humanity had achieved what many thought could never happen. Earth's first wave of starships had left the cradle of the solar system, and humans had begun to explore distant planets, moons, and asteroid belts. Yet, humanity's rise to the stars had not gone unnoticed. Among the countless civilizations that had thrived in the galaxy for millennia, humans were new, untested, and small, and the first species to meet them, the Zarvath, had no reason to respect them. The Zarvath were proud, tall, and covered in smooth, iridescent scales that shimmered like polished metal under starlight. Their voices were a strange mixture of clicks and resonant tones that humans could barely reproduce. They had conquered dozens of star systems, their fleets unmatched in firepower and strategy. To them, humans were merely curious insects, crawling clumsily into places they did not belong. When the Zarvath first appeared near the outer rim of the solar system, they sent a message that was as sharp as a blade. "Primitive humans, your world is amusing. Do not attempt resistance. You will be managed." Earth's leaders, gathered in the orbital council station above the planet, watched the message play in silence. Many had feared this day, yet none had imagined the sheer arrogance of the Zarvath. "Managed," one diplomat whispered. "As if we were ants under their heel." Captain Elara Miles leaned forward in her chair on the command deck of the ISS Horizon, one of Earth's oldest but still functional warships. She had been trained for years to face threats from beyond, but the Zarvath were unlike anything she had studied. They were ruthless, efficient, and entirely dismissive of humanity's efforts. "We cannot let them see us as weak," Elara said firmly, her hands resting on the console before her. Her voice carried a calm confidence that belied the tension in the room. "They may underestimate us now, but we are not powerless." Her officers nodded. Among them was Lieutenant Kai Ramirez, young but brilliant at tactical calculations, and engineer Dr. Celine Voss, who had spent decades secretly upgrading old ships with experimental technology. The crew of the Horizon represented the best of humanity: courage, intelligence, and determination. The Relic fleet of Earth, so named because it consisted of older starships from humanity's first wave of interstellar expansion, was viewed as laughable by the Zarvath. These ships had wooden paneling in their early days, hulls not fully adapted for deep space combat, and engines that were noisy and slow compared to Zarvath designs. But humans had learned. Slowly, quietly, and deliberately, they had been modifying these relics. Adaptive shields, improved propulsion systems, stealth technology, and AI-assisted targeting systems had transformed the old ships into weapons that could surprise even the most advanced aliens. The Zarvath, however, had no way of knowing this. From their perspective, Earth was a small, insignificant planet with a laughable defense. Their fleet, massive and gleaming, moved like a living storm through space. Hundreds of warships, each bigger than an Earth city, advanced toward the solar system with precision and confidence. As the first Zarvath ships appeared on Earth's radar screens, the humans could feel the weight of history pressing down upon them. The Horizon's crew worked in perfect synchrony. Consoles beeped and flickered, lights danced across screens, and the hum of the ship's core resonated through the deck. "Captain, sensors detect the main Zarvath fleet," Kai reported. "They're approaching at high velocity. Weapons charged." Elara studied the display. The Zarvath ships were massive, and their formation was tight, suggesting coordinated tactics that humans could barely comprehend. Yet she did not feel fear. She felt resolve. Humanity had survived countless challenges, and this would be another test of their ingenuity. "Prepare all defensive systems," she ordered, "and keep the Relic fleet on standby. They may be old, but they will surprise them." The other officers exchanged looks. The Relic fleet, as far as the outside galaxy was concerned, was more museum than military force. But Alara trusted her crew. She knew that in human history, every time they had been underestimated, humans had found a way to turn the odds in their favor. As the Zarvath fleet entered the outer solar system, their lead ship broadcasted another message, dripping with condescension. Humans do not resist. Your weapons are inferior. Your species is unworthy of the stars. Alara did not respond. Words were meaningless. Action would speak louder. In the days that followed, humans prepared. Earth's orbital stations were reinforced, and small fighter squadrons practiced maneuvers among the asteroids. Engineers worked tirelessly, improving the Relic fleet's capabilities. They installed new energy cores, enhanced targeting algorithms, and experimental stealth shields. Every ship became a blend of old design and new innovation, a relic that could surprise even the most advanced enemy. Meanwhile, scientists studied Zarvath communications and battle patterns. They discovered that the aliens, despite their strength, had predictable tendencies. This knowledge would be crucial. Humanity's strategy would not rely solely on strength, but on cleverness, adaptability, and teamwork. The tension was palpable on the horizon. Nights in space were not dark in the way Earth knew. The blackness of the void was interrupted by stars and distant planets, but even the beauty of the cosmos could not ease the pressure. Alara often walked the observation deck, staring at Earth below, reminding herself why they fought. Not just for survival, but for pride, for recognition, for the undeniable fact that humans belonged among the stars. One evening, as the crew prepared for the Zarvath's arrival in the inner solar system, a young technician named Mira Chen approached Alara. "Captain, the Relic fleet is ready. The ships are upgraded, stealth systems active, and the AI is synced with the command network." Alara smiled faintly. "Good. The Zarvath think we are weak. That is their mistake. Let them mock us. They will regret it." The first encounter came without warning. A small Zarvath scouting vessel darted through the asteroid belt near Jupiter. Human fighters disguised among the asteroids struck first. Using the Relic fleet's upgraded targeting systems, they disabled the alien ship in minutes. The Zarvath were stunned. Reports came through the fleet channels. Impossible. Their weapons, inaccurate. Their ships, faster than expected. Alara watched the data, her eyes calm but determined. "This is only the beginning," she said softly. "They may have strength, but we have ingenuity, and they have never faced humans who refuse to give up." Over the next several hours, small skirmishes continued. Human fighters moved like shadows, striking the Zarvath at unexpected angles. The Relic fleet, once considered obsolete, became a phantom menace. Every engagement taught the humans more about the aliens' tactics, and every mistake the Zarvath made was noted, calculated, and stored for later use. In the command center of the horizon, Alara and her officers worked tirelessly. Maps, projections, and simulations filled the screens. Every decision mattered. Every maneuver could mean survival or annihilation. "Captain," Kai said, pointing to a screen, "they're repositioning. They suspect something. But I've plotted a course through the asteroid field. We can ambush them if we move quickly." Alara nodded. "Do it. Keep the fleet in stealth. Let them think we are retreating. Then we strike." As humans executed their plan, the Zarvath were drawn into a trap. The Relic fleet emerged from hiding, old ships moving with precision, energy weapons firing with deadly accuracy. The aliens had underestimated humans, and the consequences were immediate. Several Zarvath cruisers were disabled before they could react. The rest scattered in confusion. The crew of the Horizon cheered quietly, not out of arrogance, but out of relief and pride. Humanity had survived the first real test against an alien force. They had taken a fleet that was mocked as relics and turned it into a symbol of ingenuity and courage. Ilara knew this was only the start. The Zarvath would not give up easily. They would come back with more ships, more strategy, more firepower. But humanity had shown that even in the face of overwhelming odds, they could fight, adapt, and prevail. And above all, the galaxy had seen the truth. Humans were not weak. They were clever, resilient, and determined. The Relic fleet, once a laughingstock, had begun its legend. As the horizon drifted in the calm after the skirmish, Ilara looked out at the stars and whispered, "We may be young, but we are unstoppable. Let them mock us. It will only make them regret it." The battle for respect among the stars had begun, and humanity was ready. The calm after the initial skirmish lasted only a few hours. The Horizon and the other ships of the Relic fleet drifted in the quiet of space, scanning and recalibrating their systems. The Zarvath, however, were far from done. Their pride had been wounded, and wounded pride in the Zarvath often led to ruthless retaliation. Captain Ilara Miles stood on the command deck of the Horizon, her eyes fixed on the view screen showing the distant formations of the Zarvath fleet. "They've underestimated us once," she said quietly. "They will not make the same mistake again. But we have the advantage now. They don't know our full strength." Her officers nodded. Lieutenant Kai Ramirez tapped a series of commands on his console. "Captain, I've analyzed their movements. They are regrouping near Saturn's orbit. If we strike carefully, we can force them into a trap." Ilara's lips curved into a faint smile. "Good. Prepare the fleet. I want all ships in attack formation by the time we reach the asteroid belt. This time we hit them hard and fast." The Relic fleet moved with silent precision. To an outsider, they might still look like relics, slow, bulky ships with worn exteriors. But every surface hid advanced technology. Adaptive shields rippled faintly. Cloaking fields blended the ships with the blackness of space. And AI-assisted targeting systems prepared to strike with deadly accuracy. The first real attack began when small human fighter squadrons darted ahead. Using stealth systems and the cover of Saturn's rings, they launched missiles that created a cascade of explosions among the Zarvath's outer ships. The aliens had not expected the humans to engage so boldly. Many of their vessels were damaged before they could organize a response. Ilara's voice came over the comms, calm but commanding. "All units maintain formation. Use hit-and-run tactics. Avoid direct confrontation unless necessary. Let them waste their energy on us while we prepare the trap." The fleet responded immediately. Even the oldest ships, the so-called relics, moved as if alive, following Ilara's orders with perfect timing. The small fighters swooped in, fired, and disappeared into the shadows of Saturn's rings. It was a dance of precision and daring, one the Zarvath could not anticipate. On board the Horizon, the tension was thick but focused. Engineers monitored the energy cores, making sure the ships had enough power for the next wave of attacks. Weapons officers calculated trajectories, adjusting for the unpredictable effects of Saturn's magnetic field. Every member of the crew knew that even a small mistake could be fatal. Then the Zarvath struck back. Their larger cruisers formed a crescent around the human fleet, firing plasma beams that cut through space with lethal energy. Several human fighters were destroyed in the first wave, and alarms blared across the horizon. Ilara did not panic. "Kai, deploy countermeasures. Selene, increase shield output to maximum on all outer ships. And fire back only when you have a clear shot." The humans fought with determination, dodging the alien beams and returning fire with precision. Their older ships, once thought slow and clumsy, now moved with agility no one expected. The AI-assisted targeting systems allowed them to strike weak points on the Zarvath cruisers, causing minor but strategic damage. For the first time, the Zarvath realized that these humans were not easy prey. They had underestimated not only human technology, but human courage. In the middle of the battle, Ilara made a bold decision. Prepare the ambush in the asteroid field near Enceladus. We lure them in, and the Relic fleet will finish this. Kai raised an eyebrow. It's risky, Captain. Their fleet is larger, and they may detect us. Ilara's eyes were firm. Risk is part of victory. If we do this carefully, we can turn their numbers against them. Trust the fleet. Trust us. The human ships maneuvered into the asteroid field with careful coordination. They moved silently among massive chunks of rock, waiting for the Zarvath to follow. And, as Ilara predicted, the alien ships did not hesitate. Their pride made them reckless. They pursued the human fighters, assuming they could destroy them in one strike. Once the Zarvath cruisers entered the asteroid field, the humans struck. Mines hidden among the rocks detonated in precise timing, creating a deadly maze of explosions. Human fighters used the chaos to disable the alien ship's engines and weapons. The Relic fleet moved in from multiple directions, attacking from angles the aliens could not defend against. Back on the horizon, Celine Voss watched the systems with careful focus. Captain, we're seeing heavy damage on their forward cruisers. The trap is working perfectly. Ilara's hand hovered over the command console. Excellent. Continue pressure. Make them regret every step they took into this field. The battle raged for hours. Even as the humans lost some ships, every loss taught them something about the Zarvath's tactics. Every move they made was recorded and analyzed for future attacks. And every victory, no matter how small, strengthened their confidence. Amid the chaos, a small group of elite fighters, led by Lieutenant Kai, executed a daring maneuver. They targeted the Zarvath flagship, a massive vessel that commanded the enemy fleet. Using stealth systems and the asteroid cover, they approached undetected. Ilara held her breath as she watched the screens. Now, Kai, strike the flagship's shield generator. In perfect synchronization, Kai's squad fired precision missiles that struck the shield generator. The explosions were small but effective. The flagship's shields flickered and faltered, leaving it vulnerable. The Zarvath flagship's commander, sensing the attack, attempted to retaliate. But it was too late. The human fighters slipped away, using the asteroid field as cover. The flagship suffered critical system failures, forcing the enemy fleet to regroup in confusion. From the horizon, Ilara watched the results. The first major blow is ours. Send the data to Earth Command. They need to know that the Relic fleet is not to be underestimated. Reports flooded in from other ships in the fleet. Several Zarvath cruisers were disabled, and some of their smaller vessels had retreated in disarray. Humanity had delivered a blow that would be remembered. As the fleet regrouped, Ilara addressed her officers and crew. Today we showed that courage, strategy, and teamwork matter more than size or power. The Zarvath mocked us, called us primitive, and thought us weak. They were wrong. There was a quiet cheer among the crew. They were exhausted, their ships damaged, but the sense of achievement was overwhelming. Humanity had fought and won against a superior force using intelligence and ingenuity rather than brute strength. Meanwhile, in the heart of the Zarvath fleet, their leaders were furious. They had underestimated humans, and now their pride was wounded. Reports came of their losses, and murmurs of disbelief spread among their command ranks. "Impossible!" one officer hissed. "They're ships! They should not have been able to do this! Humans are primitive!" But even as the Zarvath struggled to comprehend the defeat, human messages of defiance were clear. The Relic fleet, once dismissed as outdated and weak, had struck fear and doubt into the hearts of a mighty alien force. On the horizon, Ilara took a moment to gaze out at Saturn's rings, glittering like fractured diamonds in the dim starlight. She knew this was only the beginning. The Zarvath would not forgive this embarrassment easily. They would return with more ships, more tactics, more firepower. But humans had something the Zarvath could not measure: determination, courage, and the will to survive. Even in the face of overwhelming odds, humanity had proven that they could adapt, fight, and overcome. As night fell over the horizon's orbit, Ilara addressed her crew one last time. "We've won today, but the war is not over. Tomorrow the Zarvath will come again, and when they do, we will be ready. Remember this victory, and remember who we are. We are humans. We never give up, and we never back down." The crew nodded, their faces glowing in the soft light of the control panels. Hope, pride, and determination filled the ship. The Relic fleet, mocked and underestimated, had shown the galaxy that humans were not to be ignored, and so the first major strike had been successful. Humanity had turned its relics into weapons of legend, outsmarting an enemy that believed victory would be effortless. The stars would never look at Earth the same way again. The battle for survival and respect had only begun. The victory near Saturn was a moment of pride, but Captain Ilara Miles knew it was only the beginning. The Zarvath had been humiliated, and they would return in greater numbers. Humanity could not rely on luck or surprise alone. They had to strike decisively before the aliens regrouped. "Captain," said Kai Ramirez, leaning over his console in the Horizon's control room, "our intelligence shows that the Zarvath fleet is gathering in the Kuiper Belt. They're repairing damaged ships and preparing reinforcements. If we wait too long, we may lose the advantage we've gained." Ilara nodded. "Then we take the fight to them. Prepare the Relic fleet for offensive operations. Celine, check all systems, shields, weapons, and engines. We can't afford failure this time." The crew worked with determined focus. The Relic fleet, once dismissed as outdated, now moved with precision and confidence. Their ships had learned from every encounter, every skirmish. The AI-assisted targeting systems had been upgraded based on the Saturn battle, allowing human fighters to strike with deadly accuracy. As the fleet approached the Kuiper Belt, Ilara held a tactical briefing. Star maps glowed across the table as officers discussed strategy. "The Zarvath will expect caution," she said. "We'll give them that, and then they will be caught off guard. The asteroids and ice fields give us cover. We will split into 3 squadrons, 1 frontal strike, 1 flanking, and 1 in reserve to exploit weaknesses." Lieutenant Ramirez spoke up. "Captain, the frontal squad may face heavy resistance. We could lose several ships." Ilara's expression was calm, almost serene. "Risk is part of every victory, Kai. We fight not just with ships, but with our minds. Stay alert, adapt, and survive. That is our strength." The fleet moved into position. Ice chunks and debris of the Kuiper Belt created a chaotic environment that made long-range targeting difficult. But humans had prepared for this. Using the adaptive sensors and AI systems, their ships could navigate with precision and remain almost invisible until the moment of attack. Then the first shots rang out. Small human fighters, using stealth systems, darted forward and struck Zarvath supply vessels. Explosions lit up the darkness of space. The aliens reacted quickly, firing plasma beams at the attackers, but the humans were elusive. From the Horizon's command deck, Ilara watched carefully. "Good. Keep them busy. Let the flanking squad move into position." Kai's squad moved silently through the ice fields, using the terrain as cover. Then, in perfect synchronization, they emerged behind the Zarvath cruisers. Human weapons struck critical systems, engines, shields, and weapon arrays, disabling several ships before the aliens could respond. The Zarvath were taken aback. Their arrogance had blinded them to human creativity and strategy. Reports of disabled cruisers reached the flagship, and panic rippled through their command ranks. Ilara saw her chance. "Activate the reserve squad. Target their flagship. We hit it now." The reserve squad, a mix of older relics and newer human ships, moved with deadly coordination. They targeted the enemy flagship's propulsion system and shield generators. The initial strikes were precise, and the flagship faltered. Its shields flickered, leaving it vulnerable. Inside the flagship, the Zarvath commander's clicks and resonant tones were frantic. "Impossible! They are primitive! How can they fight like this?" But humans were far from primitive. They had prepared for this moment for months. Years of research, upgrades, and careful planning had transformed the Relic fleet into a weapon the Zarvath had never imagined. Ilara's voice over the comms was calm but firm. "This is humanity. You may have mocked us, but now you will learn that we are not to be underestimated." The battle intensified. Human squadrons weaved through the ice fields, striking at cruisers and frigates. Each strike weakened the Zarvath fleet further. Even as some human ships were damaged, the losses were minimal compared to the damage inflicted on the aliens. Amid the chaos, Ilara noticed a formation of Zarvath reinforcements attempting to flank the human fleet. She acted quickly. "Kai, take the intercept squad. Cut them off before they reach the fleet. Celine, coordinate fire with the frontal squad." The intercept squad moved swiftly, engaging the incoming reinforcements. Using advanced maneuvers and AI-assisted targeting, the humans disabled the reinforcements before they could connect with the main fleet. The remaining Zarvath ships began to falter under the coordinated human attack. Inside the horizon, the crew worked tirelessly. Engineers patched minor hull breaches while weapons officers calculated trajectories for precise strikes. Every action was synchronized, every maneuver deliberate. Humanity's strength was not just in technology, but in teamwork, strategy, and courage. As the flagship continued to falter, Ilara made her boldest decision yet. "Prepare boarding pods. We strike their flagship directly. We end this battle now." Kai's squad prepared the boarding pods, small ships designed to breach enemy vessels and deploy elite teams. They launched silently, moving toward the crippled flagship. The humans inside were trained for this moment. Their mission: disable the command systems and force the Zarvath to surrender. The boarding pods docked with the flagship, and humans poured in. Using their knowledge of alien technology and quick thinking, they disabled communications and navigation systems. The Zarvath crew was stunned, unable to respond effectively. Back in space, the human fleet pressed the attack. With the flagship disabled, the remaining Zarvath ships scattered, some retreating into deep space. Humanity had won a decisive victory. Ilara watched the results on the horizon's screen. "This is what happens when intelligence, courage, and determination meet opportunity," she said quietly. Kai, wiping sweat from his brow, smiled. "Captain, they never expected this. We've changed the game." Celine nodded. "The Relic fleet has proven its worth. No longer will they see us as weak or primitive." The victory had consequences beyond the battlefield. Across the galaxy, news of the human counteroffensive spread quickly. Civilizations that had once dismissed Earth began to reconsider. Humans were no longer mere newcomers. They were a force to be reckoned with. Back on Earth, celebrations were quiet but heartfelt. Families watched reports of the battle, proud of the courage and ingenuity of their people. The Relic fleet, once a symbol of the past, had become a beacon of hope and pride. Ilara addressed her crew one last time before returning to orbit around Earth. "We've struck a major blow, but the war is not over. The Zarvath will regroup, and they will come back. But we have shown the galaxy who we are. We fight with our minds, our courage, and our unity, and we never give up." The crew nodded, exhausted but proud. Humanity had survived its first major confrontation with an advanced alien species. They had turned relics into legends and mockery into respect. As the horizon drifted through the Kuiper Belt, Ilara looked out at the stars. She knew the Zarvath would return, and when they did, humanity would be ready. The battle for recognition and survival had only begun, but the humans had proven one undeniable truth. They were clever, resilient, and unstoppable. And somewhere, far beyond the edges of known space, the Zarvath commanders would remember the Relic fleet. They would remember the humans who refused to be conquered, and they would regret ever mocking a species they thought was primitive. The counteroffensive had been more than a victory. It was a statement. Humanity had arrived in the galaxy not as prey, but as a force to be reckoned with, and the legend of the Relic fleet would grow, inspiring future generations of humans to reach for the stars, always ready, always clever, and always unbroken. The Kuiper Belt victory was only the beginning. Captain Elara Miles knew the Zarvath would not forgive their humiliation. Reports from scouts indicated that the alien fleet was rebuilding, incorporating reinforcements from distant star systems. This time, they would come in force, expecting revenge. Elara gathered her officers in the Horizon's command room. The screens glowed with maps, fleet positions, and projected movements of the Zarvath forces. They think we are weak, and they are wrong. We cannot wait for them to strike again. We will meet them on our terms, she said firmly. Lieutenant Kai Ramirez studied the star charts. Captain, their new formation is massive. They've learned from the Kuiper Belt fight. If we attack head-on, we risk everything. Elara nodded. Then we use strategy. We hit where they are weakest. We turn their strength into weakness. Celine, what's the status of the fleet? Dr. Celine Voss smiled. Captain, the Relic fleet is ready. Shields at maximum, engines optimized, weapon systems fully operational. We've also implemented AI-assisted coordination for the entire fleet. Even our oldest ships can operate like new war machines. Elara felt a surge of pride. The so-called relics had become legends, symbols of human ingenuity. Good. We strike at dawn, not just to fight, but to make a statement. Humanity will not be mocked. The fleet moved toward the outer solar system with careful precision. The old ships, once considered obsolete, glided silently through space, their hulls gleaming faintly under the distant sunlight. The younger human pilots, trained for years in tactical maneuvers, were ready to take advantage of every weakness in the Zarvath formation. As the Horizon approached the designated battleground near Neptune, sensors detected the incoming Zarvath fleet. It was massive, far larger than the previous encounters, with dozens of new cruisers, frigates, and elite warships. Their scales shimmered with deadly energy, and their movements were disciplined and coordinated. They've learned, Kai said quietly. We must be precise. Elara nodded. Then precision is what we give them. Activate stealth. Keep them uncertain. Let them wonder where we are before we strike. The humans waited, hidden among Neptune's ice rings and asteroid fields. The Zarvath fleet moved with confidence, assuming that humanity would retreat. They were wrong. With a sudden flash, the humans struck. Missiles fired from hidden positions, plasma bursts erupted from fighters, and the Relic fleet surged forward. The old ships moved with surprising speed, their AI-assisted systems anticipating enemy maneuvers. The Zarvath were caught off guard. The battle raged across the cold expanse of Neptune's orbit. Human pilots used tactics never before seen by the Zarvath. Sudden retreats followed by ambushes, synchronized attacks from multiple angles, and use of gravity wells and asteroid fields to hinder alien movement. Elara's voice remained calm over the comms. Focus fire on their forward cruisers. Avoid unnecessary risks. Remember, every move counts. Kai led a squadron through a narrow ice corridor. They targeted the alien cruiser's engines and weapon systems, causing confusion in the Zarvath ranks. Several ships were disabled, forcing the aliens to adjust their formation. Celine monitored the energy systems of the fleet. Captain, all ships are functioning. Even the oldest relics are performing beyond expectations. The fleet is responding faster than predicted. Elara smiled. That is what happens when humans refuse to be defeated. Keep the pressure on. They will crumble. Amid the chaos, Elara noticed the Zarvath flagship attempting a counterattack. It unleashed a massive wave of energy that threatened to destroy multiple human vessels. "Divert all shields to the frontal fleet," Ilara commanded. "Kai, intercept the flagship. We cannot let them regain control." Kai maneuvered his squadron with daring precision. Using stealth systems, they approached the flagship from behind, avoiding its weapons fire. Precision missiles struck the shield generators, and the alien flagship faltered. Inside the flagship, panic spread. The Zarvath commander's clicks and resonant tones grew frantic. "How is this possible? They should not be able to fight like this." But humans had planned for this. Using their knowledge of alien technology, the boarding pods were launched, carrying elite teams to disable the command systems. They moved swiftly and efficiently, taking control of the bridge and shutting down critical systems. With the flagship disabled, the Zarvath fleet fell into disarray. Human ships exploited the confusion, striking with precision and disabling the remaining enemy vessels. The battle that had seemed impossible hours ago was now a decisive victory. Ilara allowed herself a moment to breathe. "We've done it. Humanity has shown its strength, intelligence, and courage. The Zarvath will remember this." The battle ended with minimal human losses compared to the damage inflicted on the Zarvath. The relics, once laughed at and dismissed, had become symbols of ingenuity, resilience, and the unyielding human spirit. News of the victory spread across the galaxy. Civilizations that had ignored Earth now regarded humans with respect. The so-called primitive species had outsmarted a mighty alien empire, proving that intelligence, courage, and teamwork could overcome even overwhelming odds. On Earth, celebrations were quiet but heartfelt. Families watched as reports showed the Relic fleet returning victorious. People cheered not just for the ships, but for the bravery and ingenuity of those who fought among the stars. Ilara addressed her crew one last time before returning to Earth orbit. "Today we have achieved more than a victory in battle. We have earned respect. The galaxy has seen what humans can do. Let this be remembered. No matter how small or underestimated, humanity can overcome any challenge with courage, creativity, and unity." Kai looked at the captain. "We've proven ourselves. The Relic fleet is no longer a relic. It is a symbol of humanity's strength." Celine added, "And it will inspire generations to come. Humans will not be mocked again." Ilara nodded, gazing out at the stars. "They may return someday, but we will be ready. Humanity will continue to rise, explore, and fight with courage. We belong among the stars, and no one can deny it." The horizon drifted in Earth orbit, its systems humming quietly. The Relic fleet, once dismissed as old and weak, had become legendary. Its story would be told for generations, a testament to human ingenuity, courage, and resilience. Far beyond the solar system, in the dark reaches of space, the Zarvath commanders would remember this defeat. They had mocked humans, called them primitive, and believed victory would be easy. They were wrong, and they would regret it for the rest of their lives. The legend of the Relic fleet was complete. Humanity had turned relics into legends, weakness into strength, and mockery into respect. The stars would never look at Earth the same way again, and in the quiet of space, Captain Ilara Miles whispered to herself, "We are human. We never give up. We never back down, and we will always rise." The victory was not just for the fleet or for the Earth Defense Corps. It was for all of humanity, a reminder that cleverness, courage, and determination could overcome any challenge, no matter how impossible it seemed. And as the stars stretched endlessly before them, humans knew one truth above all. They had arrived among the galaxies, unbroken, unstoppable, and unafraid.